they heard it before they saw it. A sharp, loud slap that echoed down the school hallway, followed by a stunned silence so thick, it could have swallowed sound whole. Lockers stood frozen mid-click. Conversations halted like someone had pulled a fire alarm in everyone's chest. And then came the gasps. The new girl, small, quiet, face half covered by a curtain of dark curls, stood against a locker. Her cheek burned red. Her books lay scattered across the floor. And in front of her stood Jace Miller, the biggest and meanest bully at Northridge High, grinning like he'd just won something. But nobody had won. Not yet. 2 seconds later, Jace screamed in a way no one had ever heard from him before. His elbow bent backward in an unnatural shape, like a stick snapped in half. He collapsed to the floor, clutching his arm and howling. The hallway exploded into chaos, kids shrieking, backing away, some running. Phones came out. The bell rang. And just as the teacher burst out of room 203, it was too late. The new girl had already let go. Let's go back a week. Her name was Liana. She was 17, a senior, and it was her first day at yet another school. The third in 2 years. She and her mom had been moving around a lot since the incident, something no one at this school knew about. Something no one was supposed to know about. She didn't dress flashy. No makeup. Faded hoodie, jeans, and combat boots. She didn't smile much, didn't talk much. She had one goal: survive the school year without drawing attention. Then she'd finally be free. But trouble has a way of finding those who try hardest to hide. Liana's first week wasn't awful, just lonely. Kids whispered. She was different. Her silence made them nervous. People are scared of what they don't understand. And Jace? Jace was terrified of losing control. He ruled the school. Tall, athletic, loud, the kind of guy who could make you laugh 1 second and crush you with a word the next. Everyone knew not to cross him. The teachers barely kept him in check, and most students just tried to stay out of his way. But Liana didn't flinch when he passed by her in the cafeteria. Didn't look impressed when he shoved someone into a locker. Didn't laugh at his jokes. To Jace, that was enough to mark her. The first time he approached her was in the hallway, a few days before everything exploded. He and his crew cornered her at her locker. "Hey, new girl," he said, leaning way too close. "You mute or just stuck up?" Liana didn't even glance at him. She just grabbed her binder and started walking. That was mistake number 1, at least, according to Jace. The next day, it escalated. He blocked her path. Knocked her books out of her hands. Made snide comments when she walked by. Still, Liana said nothing. She remembered what her mother always told her: don't fight unless you have to. You already know how it ends. Her mom knew about the darkness. Knew what Liana had done in their old town. The reason they moved. The reason Liana had sworn to herself never to use her fists again. But some people mistake silence for weakness. Friday came fast. The air buzzed with end-of-week energy. People laughed louder, lockers slammed harder, teachers were more lenient. Jace was in rare form. That morning, he threw someone's backpack on the roof. By lunch, he'd made 2 freshmen cry. And by last period, he was looking for someone, to top it off. Liana walked alone down the hallway, heading to her last class. She had her earbuds in. Music low. Just enough to drown the noise but still hear footsteps behind her. She felt the tap on her shoulder. She ignored it. Then came the second tap, harder. And then, the slap. It came out of nowhere. Stung like fire. Stole her breath. Gasps. Liana turned. Jace stood there laughing. "What? Did I knock your mute button back on?" And for the first time in a long time, something inside her snapped. She didn't scream. Didn't yell. She just moved. 3 seconds. That's all it took. 1 step forward. 1 twist. 1 precise motion. Jace's body hit the floor before he even knew what happened. His scream tore through the hall. And just like that, Liana stood still again, breathing heavy, as the world erupted. Teachers rushed in. Students shouted. Jace writhed on the floor. The nurse was called. An ambulance came. The principal demanded answers. But Liana said only 5 words. He slapped me. I reacted. She was suspended, of course. There was a board meeting. Jace's parents threatened to sue. But the videos? They told the truth. Dozens of phones had captured it all. The slap. The fall. The crowd. And for once, the school couldn't ignore it. Jace wasn't a victim. He was a bully who got what he gave. Still, Liana was sent home for a week. Her mother sat quietly across from her that night, tears in her eyes but pride in her voice. I told you not to fight, she said. I know, Liana replied. But he hit me first. Her mom nodded. I'm not angry, she whispered. I'm just glad you're safe. Word spread fast. The video went viral. People online cheered her. Finally, someone stood up to a bully. She's a hero. Don't mess with the quiet ones. But for Liana, it wasn't about glory. It was about peace. Boundaries. The line that should never be crossed. The next week, when she returned to school, something had shifted. No one whispered when she walked by. No one laughed. Some kids gave her high fives. Others just gave her space. One girl came up to her at lunch, tears in her eyes, and whispered, "He used to bully me too." Thank you. Liana didn't say much. She didn't have to. Her presence said enough now. Jace transferred schools before the month ended. His parents kept things quiet, but word was his elbow would take months to fully heal. Maybe longer. The school? It started to feel a little safer. Not perfect. But better. And Liana? She finally started to open up. She joined a self-defense club. Helped teach girls how to stand tall, how to hold their ground. She smiled more. Laughed, even. And though the scars of her past still lingered, they no longer defined her. Because she wasn't just the girl who snapped a bully's elbow. She was the girl who chose silence until silence became a shield. Who held back until holding back meant losing herself. Who stood up, not for attention, not for vengeance, but for every kid who had ever been pushed, mocked, ignored, or slapped just for existing. Her story wasn't about violence. It was about boundaries. Respect. Strength. And sometimes, strength is quiet. But when it speaks, the world listens. If this story moved you even a little, drop a comment below. Have you ever stood up to a bully? Or wished someone had stood up for you? Your voice matters. And if you believe in kindness, courage, and standing up for what's right even when it's hard, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. This is Be Kind Always, where real stories shine.